The Newcomer, page 62. The two girls would share restructure classes and computer classes at the Learning Center, along with other classes and classmates their age. All student queens could socialize within the community atmosphere, but private meetings or sexual contact were strictly forbidden. During a trip to the Commons, the community outside the castle walls, not worthy to be part of the palace, Lenise had a scrambler painlessly implanted so that she could scramble the monitor screens for a few minutes while Diana and Lenise weaned themselves from each other. Lenise looked back at Diana with obsessing thoughts of separation of her own. She pulled a small present from her pocket and handed it to Diana. Accepting the gift with a small smile, Diana lifted the decorated lid from the box. It contained a small porcelain figure of a black horse. The gift brought tears. "I bought myself a white one just like it," Lenise said. "Even though we can't be together, you can look at that and know that I'll always love you." While the girls hugged, Diana whispered into Lenise's ear, "I will never have another until we can be together again." Lenise pulled away from the embrace. "Don't do that to yourself, Diana. You know that I will be indoctrinating many charges before I retire. I'm only 17. 40 is a long way off." "It doesn't matter. I'll wait for you." The future queen stood and walked over to the trunk of the tree that they'd been sitting under. Running her hand up the scabby bark, she looked into its full branches of green caterpillar food. Sun warmed the veins of the translucent chlorophyll sheaths as she rambled on about how she would enjoy each charge's company and how Diana should be so self-centered as to pine away for someone who would be engrossed in the sexual fulfillment of her duty. The lie didn't bring about the desired effect. When Diana went back to school, she dove into her studies, becoming a queen's doctor while remaining celibate. With every charge that Lenise indoctrinated, Diana hid further into her professional persona, striving to become detached, but hardly succeeded. Diana wiped away the memory of that jasmine summer and asked Lenise if she was through with the pinboard. Lenise raised an eyebrow at the harsh woman, who was buried deep within her defense mechanism, then shrugged off the coldness that she'd come to expect. "I trust that our day is over then, Doctor?" she asked while Diana hooked the pinboard to her computer. The doctor nodded. "Should I be notified of any problems?" Lenise asked, as strictly business as she could. The doctor looked up. "Nothing showed up today," Dr. Diana replied, knowing that Lenise had been inquiring about the charge of sperm analysis. The pinboard finished jumping up its information and switched itself off. "Your charges routine physicals are scheduled for the next 9 months. After that, Lenise took over the statement, "the charge will most likely be in someone else's care." Lenise rose to leave. "I hate to cut this short," she said, "but I have many appointments for the day. If anything comes up, contact Stephanie. If not, I'll be seeing you. When?" She reached into her purse and took out a compact rendition of the doctor's pinboard. "April 18th at 10:30 a.m., the doctor said, watching Lenise enter the date, then returned her board to her purse. "You really should be more discreet, Lenise. Someone might think that you're keeping a diary." She tried it playfully. "Such blasphemous talk," Lenise blurted, happy to see that the old Diana was still in there. "It's merely a portable information modem. It's not a book." "And," Diana added slyly, "what is wrong with your personal assistant?" She pushed herself up from behind her desk. "There you go again, questioning my procedures," Lenise said, reaching over Diana's desk for a long hug. The grown girls giggled and embraced, patting each other's backs. Lenise planted a friendly kiss on Diana's cheek. Then they released, and Lenise walked towards the door. Until then, my black stallion, detecting the mischievous glint in her ex-lover's eyes, the old name didn't send a caustic sting. Farewell, my white unicorn, she gave the reply, feeling a bit corny, but loving it just the same. September 30th, 1987. The cottage town of Shreveport was such a small community that the councilor's takeover was unnoticed by the rest of Maine. Hell, Maine had always been a reclusive state anyway. The town's mayor was a woman. Her right-hand men were women. The teachers were women. The bankers were women. Even all the grocery store checkout personnel were women. Men in Shreveport had already become a commodity long before the plague, or as the council deemed it, the cleansing, had become an issue to the rest of the world. Since Shreveport was also a fishing community, the natives had existed on seafood pretty much all their lives. Their male children were already being born with the affliction. Of course, that became an issue to all parts of the world, but in 1984, in Shreveport, Maine, this disease had already changed the town's lifestyle, and they kept it a secret. And me, being fresh bait, I was being auctioned off for my sperm the minute that my presence was noticed. Okay. The Square of Commons trading activities winding down. The stores preparing to close while the shops of the elite were opening. The shops of the elite were frequented by bartering runners of the castle, whose women weren't known for their early rising, and by socialites who weren't afforded runners or who liked to barter for themselves. Socialites weren't known for needing to catch the worm either. Stores in the Commons had been open since 5 in order to vie for the heavy competition. Many of those doors were closed as the supplies were exhausted, and the proprietors were changing gears to become runners themselves. Barter slips were being organized for exchange at the warehouse, so the store's keepers could restock the shelves and start the cycle over again in the morning. Fedora was one such proprietor. Her slips were arranged and secured with a pouch that she wore around her waist for protection against theft. After checking her analog watch, she looked out of her store's window. She could see the electric shop's front door and knew that it had been open for 15 minutes. Denise should be leaving there right now, and she was. The High Queen's appearance in the shops didn't bring the response that it once did. The cautious glares of suspicion, no wonder, had been replaced with smiles and welcoming hellos. Once Denise admitted to a choice few that she was bred to trade. The lightning gossip line spread the word of how Denise felt compelled to step down from her station so that she could barter for herself. This endeared her to her socialite daughters, who shared her compulsion. It also provided the opportunity to advance the daughters' statuses by being seen chit-chatting with the High Queen.